Good morning, everybody. Big old smile on my face. Sammy, United People's TV. Welcome to another morning news live show. How are you all doing? What's everyone getting up to this week? International break. If you so wish, you should be going to Old Trafford tonight. See the women's team play. Big game. I'll speak about that. We'll also run through the Joao Gomes stories that I wouldn't say they've just started, because Joao Gomes has been linked with Manchester United a fair bit before, but they're just coming back. So I'm going to speak about him. I'm going to speak about that in a bit more detail in my lunchtime video too. We'll also speak about younger signings, a little bit from the Daily Mail on midfielders. We'll also speak about De Ligt, about Yoro, Matheus Cunha, Benjamin Šeško, some stories that are coming out, and some conversations that we can have this morning. Let's see who's here from the mods and the members gang. We'll say hello to everybody. Let's get on with the show. Steph, good morning to you. Susan, you're going to the game tonight. Have a fantastic time, and I hope United nail it. It's live on Disney Plus. It's on BBC Three, isn't it? BBC? I think it's on BBC Three. I think so. I need to shave. I've seen that this morning. Who else is here from the mod gang? Gungshi, good morning to you, buddy. How are you doing? We've got Steve, we've got Teresa, we've got Lisa, we've got Chris, we've got Dean. How you doing, buddy? Charlie, it's PKR watching from Sweden. Somebody down there watching from Aberdeen as well. And we've got Daniel Ramos watching from Brazil. Good morning to you, dude. We don't actually get that many watching from South America. So good morning. I'll be speaking about Brazil a little bit later. And Cunha. Now, let's go on with today's show. As always, please do get involved in the chat. Fire any comments. I'll try and engage with as many of you as I possibly can. All right? And Gungshi, I knew you were going to do that. Just because you just... I wish United were as consistent as you are, man. Drop in a little cheeky 10 memberships. Good morning to you. And as I said yesterday, and I'm dead excited about this, we have got Alex and Maddie on board now as the two new heads of community tag team. So if you need help, if you can reach out to both of them on Discord. Don't actually know what their usernames are off the top of my head. But the work has now finally begun. Stuff in the background for the community. Let's go. So, tonight, it's a big game. United's women's team are playing PSG in the Champions League at Old Trafford. So it's the first time that the women's team are playing a European game at Old Trafford. And that's a significant moment for them. And up until this weekend, actually, I believe Mark Skinner's team were undefeated in the league. And they lost to Villa, didn't they? But look, if you look at the league table in the Champions League so far, United up here, played 2, won 2, scored 2, conceded none. It's a perfect record so far. And PSG are down here, by the way. They're having a stanky start. Play 2, lost 2. Mary Earp's coming back to Old Trafford as well. I'll be honest, I don't watch enough of the women's team other than just like short highlights videos. And that's not because I don't want to watch it. I simply have I'm just so busy doing everything that I'm doing. I know that you might feel like that's an excuse, but at some point I would love to bring somebody on board to United People's TV and figure out a way, and I've already said this to you, I'd love to bring someone on board from an academy perspective who watches the academy with the same sort of level of detail that I do with the first team. And I want to bring someone on board who watches the women's team in the same level of detail that I do with the first team, and to bring that sort of coverage to United People's TV and then cover every single aspect that the club does would be awesome. But simply put, if I was to try and do it, I would then cover the men's team, the women's team, and the academy teams in bits and patches because I wouldn't be able to cover them all properly. So fingers crossed that the women can win tonight. And also, this is quite good. I don't know whether this is this something new? Have I just not seen it before? They're opening the doors to the international suite, which is it's in the Stretford, isn't it? Pretty sure it is. Around the back of it. And if you've got a matchday ticket, you can go in. I think that's typically a hospitality section. But they're opening the doors if you just got a normal match ticket. It's pretty cool. So if you want to watch it tonight, as I said, I think it's on BBC Three. I think so. I'm not quite sure. Now, did you see this yesterday? I think feels like I might have to cover this in a video. There's a lot of detail in this article that I can't possibly run through because it's all about legal documents. But effectively, Axel Tuanzebe is suing Manchester United for like medical negligence. The short story is like I think he had like some form of stress fracture, and he's arguing that if he was rehabilitated and rested properly by Manchester United, then he wouldn't have had a chronic back pain condition that started then. Obviously, he's still playing elite level football. But literally, United are getting sued by a former academy player over medical negligence, which I think is quite a significant story, for being honest. I don't think he would be the only one who could sue United. Daz, you're down there saying that it will open a can of worms. Like I imagine there's multiple stories. Hell, even bloody Marcus Rashford. Remember that? You want to talk about stress fracture? I think he had like a stress fracture in his back and played for like a full season with, I'm guessing, with like painkilling injections. I imagine it happens a lot in football. Like instead of players being fully rested and fully rehabilitated, that they play through pain with injections, temporary short-term fixes, which may alleviate the problem, as I said, in the short term, but could, in the long term, create longer chronic conditions. Someone down there saying Phil Jones. I don't know about Phil Jones. It feels like a lot of that was merely his body. Luke Shaw, would I put in the same category as well? I'm not quite sure. But I'm going to be interested to see what happens here. Someone's mentioning Malacia. I think with the Malacia one, I think that was more down to there's no point in me commenting on this. But I think it was a little bit of botched surgery rather than botched rehab. Yeah. I just thought that was an interesting one. It might be worth me covering in a full story video. The good thing is, and what I would say, even before I do that video, is we're talking about stuff in the past here. We're talking about what Manchester United's medical department used to be, rather than what Manchester United's medical department is now. We all knew that it needed to be upgraded, updated, brought into the 21st century. Man, 21st century, bloody hell. Man, that was like 25 years ago. Damn. I'm old as shit. But yeah, I think it's just reflective of what United was even a couple of years ago. I'm not saying that it's perfect now, but it's certainly better than it was. And United's injury record this season, is the fact that we're playing one game a week a big contributing factor? Yep, of course it is. But also, largely injuries and injury management and fitness management has been significantly better this year. Significantly better. I don't think anybody can really argue about that. Johnny's saying he's surprised it's not more than 1 million. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit surprised as well. Although, if anybody wants to give me 1 million, I'll give him my bank details. It'd be nice. Very nice. Gungshi, you like the top? Looks comfy. I think I got sucked into, you know, sometimes you're doom scrolling on Instagram. Like that. Like the look of that. And boom. I bought some sort of hoodie and shorts combo that takes like 5 weeks to arrive from China. It was nice though. I'm happy. Good, strong choice. All right, let's move on. Yesterday's video, the third installment in the scouting series, and we covered Adam Wharton. So that's now Baleba was first, Anderson was second, Wharton was third. I hope you enjoyed it. I think the main takeaway I've got from Adam Wharton is, well, from doing the research, from watching everything that I watched, he's so good on the ball, but there are some questions to ask about him off the ball. In the same way that I would say Carlos Baleba is so good off the ball and driving with it, but there's a little bit to ask about his quality with the ball. And I've already said this quite a few times. Like Elliot Anderson is the one that kind of sits in the middle of both. I don't think Elliot Anderson is as good on the ball as Adam Wharton. Not to say that he's bad in any way, shape or form. But he's like sevens across the board. Yeah, I mean that in a good sense. I didn't really have a weakness to his game. Andy's saying, can I share the link to the Anderson video? If anybody can, pop it in the chat. But it's just on the channel. If you go to the homepage, youtube.com/United People's TV and scroll down, there'll be like a transfer scouting profile series in its own playlist. And you can have a look at that. Someone down there asking whether or not the Joao Gomes video will be next. I think the Angelo Stiller video is probably going to be the next one we do. But it looks like we might be having a conversation about Joao Gomes as well. So let's get into today's show. Well, I've already started, really. Now, I mean, is this a story? I suppose it is a little bit of a story. This has just come from Sky Sports, and it's not particularly surprising, right? Saying that United are not expected to bring in any incomings in the transfer window in January, as things stand. And I think more what that story is sort of suggesting is that United won't just react in January simply because Ahmad and Mbeumo and Mazraoui are going to AFCON. We knew that before the season started. Nothing's going to change that. Šeško's injury, if that was a severe injury that kept him out for 6 months or so, could that have been something which forced United's hand back into the January market for a lone striker signing, which is one of our favourite things to do? Maybe. But I don't think United were ever just going to be active in January because of AFCON. And I don't think that's too much of a surprise, because that would be a very short-term bit of thinking. However, could United be active in January regardless? And this is where we can have a conversation about Joao Gomes. Now I could have had this conversation a few days ago if you wanted me to, but the reports were whiffy. You know me, I don't mind not being first to a story. I'd rather wait until it's got a little bit of credibility, and then we can have a conversation about it. But Joao Gomes. What's everyone's take on Joao Gomes? If you're looking at Wolves a couple of years ago were a sensational team. Some fall they've had. What's happened to I think this is a random question here. Let's talk about it. What happened to Ait Nouri? Now, he went to City in the summer, I swear, for like 40, 50 mil. And everyone was like, oh, it's incredible. How did City get for that, man? And like O'Reilly's playing left back. And I don't know even who's playing right. He's not playing for them at all. But anyway, I'll bring you the story about where this is coming from today. And as I said in the lunchtime video, I'll go back and I'll track it back to its roots as well, because I don't particularly think this is the first time that we've been linked with him. Right? This is coming from the Daily Mail, coming from Chris Wheeler and from Nathan Salt. Saying, of course, that United, we know, are facing a battle. Facing a battle. War talk. Anyway, United want to sign a world-class midfielder next summer. United prioritising number 6, and look, Carlos Baleba, Conor Gallagher, we'll have a little chat about, Adam Wharton, Elliot Anderson, and now Joao Gomes. So Joao Gomes is being linked by the Daily Mail and added to what is now emerging as quite a big old list. Who's on that list now then? Am I missing any? Baleba, Gallagher, Wharton, Anderson, Gomes, Stiller. Yeah, I don't know whether the Stiller stuff is actually really going that much further. I only know anything about the hoodie. Everyone ever get this with hoodies? Like you want the hoodie to like sit there, stay there, prime position, and then it will just kind of sag a little bit. Someone asking about Schlotterbeck. I haven't seen any rumours there. Verratti. People still speaking about Verratti these days. Are they? John, I would not be surprised to see the Yannick Scott rumours kind of start in earnest as well. Right? Steve, you're saying, there's been enough talk about memberships. I need to see action. All right, mate. That's exactly what I've done by bringing in 2 heads of community to actually help me. I know there's been a lot of talk about it. It's almost like I hired someone as head of community and was working with him for 2 months, and then he just disappeared off the face of the earth. And everything I said I was doing, I couldn't do because my head of community completely let me down. Annoying. But yeah, there will be action. I very much want action as well, so don't worry about that. I'll be honest, of all of them, Joao Gomes, Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba, and Adam Wharton, Joao Gomes is the one that I've watched the least. Hayden Hackney you can mention down there as well if you want. De Jong. Jesus, mentioned De Jong. Gaetan. Should we get Schneider? Is that like a niche joke? Like, does everybody remember how many years we were linked with those players for? Is that like an age thing? Like, sometimes there's probably certain United fans who are like, why are you mentioning Gaetan? Why are you mentioning Schneider? You weren't there, man. You weren't there. But Conor Gallagher as well, I suppose, yeah. I think this is the sort of story around Conor Gallagher here. A midfield signing can't be ruled out. Conor Gallagher seen as a possible loan option. If United were, hypothetical, if United were to sign Conor Gallagher on loan, it would come with an obligation. There's no way that Atletico Madrid would let him leave without an obligation being attached to it. Do I think that Conor Gallagher could come into Manchester United in January and make our midfield a little bit stronger between now and the end of the season? I mean, that's a possibility. MCLJ saying you would... why is everyone having a go at me, man? You're talking about him before now, using harsh language. Why the change? I got let down professionally. I've tried to speak to him personally as well, but I'm not getting anything there either. I'm just explaining to you the circumstances. You asked for the circumstances. I'm explaining to you the circumstances. Jeez. Maybe I just shouldn't say anything. Remain silent. Not let you in. I suppose it'd be a simpler thing. Then you won't get people saying things either way. Anyway, let's go back to the news. just reminded me of the comments I've been getting on some of the videos recently. Like, Sam, can you just, I don't care whether you like camping or not. I just want to get the news, all right? I do like camping, though. Gallagher strikes me as a player who I think could probably improve United between January and the summer, but past then, I wouldn't want Conor Gallagher in the starting 11. And I would want somebody else. And I suppose in that sense, you could probably put him in the same sort of category as... Matthias Tell? Is that fair? That's a question. Would you put the idea of signing Gallagher on loan in January in the same sort of category as signing Tell on loan? I kind of think I would. Like, at the time of not signing Tell, it felt like United might have been selling themselves a little bit short, but I'm not particularly upset that we didn't bring him in. And I think had we brought him in and brought him in on obligation, it might have got in the way of what we were able to do in the summer. Sabitzer. Jeez. I quite like Sabitzer. Just got a bad injury, didn't he? And then the conversations there about Mainoo leaving out. I really would be surprised if Mainoo wasn't loaned out. I think there'll be a host of clubs that would just be happy to have Kobbie Mainoo on loan for 6 months. No obligation, no strings attached. You can't do anything. You can't buy him. It's just 6 months. Do you want him or not? That's what I think. Josh saying, Sam sounds like such a diva to work for. Can't imagine why it didn't work. Ah, boy. Man. I love the team that I've got. The team that we've got in United People's TV has had such little turnaround. It's probably one of the things I'm actually most proud of. Like Ronnie being here over 2 years now. Jordan, all the people that I suppose you don't particularly know about. All in the background, all the social team, kind of all still the originals who are still here. I love my team. Anyway, Joao Gomes. I'm going to do a lunchtime video on him. I'm going to go back through and piece together what the story is and maybe just bring you a little bit more information. I don't know whether you'll agree with this or not. Do you think Joao Gomes coming as a potential option for United is a little bit similar to maybe when Liam Delap was considered an option for United? The reason I suppose the difference in that sense is that Liam Delap had a 30 million release clause, which United knew. if Ipswich got relegated, they could take advantage of it. It kind of feels like maybe United are lining up the fact that Wolves could get relegated and are kind of swooping in and going, well, if they do get relegated, that's probably something we can take advantage of. So I suppose a market opportunity, maybe not the top tier, maybe not the absolute like best midfielder that we could sign, but maybe an opportunity to take advantage of someone else's struggles and a player who probably could improve our team. That's kind of a little bit how I feel on Joao Gomes. I don't know whether that's unfair or not. Michael's saying we dodged a bullet with Delap. He's certainly not settled. Got a big injury, which didn't exactly help him. That really was such a mad choice, career-wise. Chelsea must... I don't know. You know what I think about players joining. How many players they signed in the summer? 24? No idea. Frogman saying Mainoo to Villa. I don't know where. That's kind of a random... That's a bit of a random question. If you... Let's just pull up this photo here. If you could choose... As I said, I think Kobbie wants to leave United on loan, and I don't blame him if he's not starting enough to get into the World Cup contention. Because that's why he wants to leave. I think if United keep him around and don't, like, if United block a move for him in January, like we blocked a move for him in the summer, and then we don't play him between now and the World Cup, and he doesn't go to the World Cup, he will hold that against United. I think it could damage how he looks at United. What club would you say would be the perfect, realistic, short-term loan move for Kobbie that would allow him to play every week at the top level, give him an opportunity to maybe force his way into the World Cup squad? But I'm telling you, like, I suppose it goes to show how small the windows are for certain players. Like for Kobbie, when he broke through in the Euros, he was in that team. He deserved to be in that team, and he nailed it. But now you look at Elliot Anderson, who has emerged. Adam Wharton wasn't really part of the conversation then at that point. Alex Scott has now got his opportunity with his first call-up to the England squad. There's so much competition in those places. Quite a few of you are mentioning Napoli. I've got Napoli in mind as well. But if he really wants eyeballs on him, it's not to say that playing abroad means you can't force your way into the conversation of the England squad. But in terms of getting the coverage which Thomas Tuchel and his team will be aware of, and like, you probably want to be in the Premier League, don't you? Someone saying Wolves, someone saying West Ham, Brighton. Quite a few of you saying Brighton. Preston, like David Beckham. He wouldn't start for West Ham. Wasn't there a story from Fabrizio? I swear Fabrizio had a story saying that West Ham were guaranteeing him a starting spot. I don't even know who's in West Ham's midfield right now. Forest? I don't think you get in that Forest team. They've got quite a few in midfield. I've no idea. It'll be interesting to watch what actually happens with him. I just don't think he'll stay at United. Personal opinion. But Joao Gomes, maybe we will do another scouting video, taking a look at Joao Gomes' season so far. He's been playing for a Wolves team that is very much on to get relegated, bottom of the league. But how's he been playing? We'll have a look. Fun fact, says Dino, Joao Gomes has a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. I didn't know that. And Graham, you're saying loan Kobbie to Napoli will suit him down to the ground. Maybe. I don't know. Again, I don't know who's in Napoli's midfield, so I don't know where the opportunities are. Now, I've seen this from Fred Caldera, I think, was a Brazilian journalist. I covered a little bit on what he said on Casemiro, I think, yesterday or day before. He's speaking about the wage cut on Casemiro. The question I want to ask you, Like, he's suggesting that Casemiro isn't willing to take a pay cut. No, yeah, isn't willing to take a pay cut to stay at Manchester United. I think probably more what that suggests, and what I think is probably correct, is that Casemiro would probably not be willing to take a big enough wage cut. Because I think that's the issue. Now, I've seen the Daily Mail put Casemiro's wages down at like 375 grand, which I think is they're definitely inflating those. Yeah, well, everybody got a wage cut because of the Champions League. That's a default 25% reduction, isn't it? I think so. But if Casemiro's on like 300, which I think we all feel is on thereabouts, he'd have to take a 50% wage cut to go down towards the levels that Mbeumo and Cunha are on. Which, as far as the club is concerned, is realistic. Even that's probably a bit much for Casemiro, for the age he is, and for the position that he would hold in the squad if he stayed next season. I don't think... Would Casemiro do that? Random question, okay. Past the World Cup this summer, what do you think Casemiro's ambitions are going to be? Like, part of the reason why I think he's having such a fantastic season is because he has this World Cup coming up. He's won everything that he could possibly win as a club player, but he's not won the World Cup with Brazil. This is his last opportunity, and he's playing and acting like that. And I think that's partly why we're seeing the best of Casemiro. So United are benefiting from that. But past the World Cup, like people, I think we may have had this conversation before. Like Finn's mentioning Saudi. It kind of feels with Casemiro like a little bit like Bruno. You know how Bruno, I think, could go to Saudi and could earn an absolute packet. I don't know whether Casemiro really is driven by that. More so than he's driven by playing at the absolute elite top level. Maybe the MLS is more of a likely destination. But that would be more for family-related reasons. I mean, again, family. It might be family. Like, I don't know. Each to their own, I suppose, but depends on... Actually, no, would I live in America right now? No, I don't think I would. Asek is saying he'll leave after this World Cup. Retirement tour, says MC. Nothing to play for after the World Cup. I think he's going to get a big old lull after the World Cup. You know, like when you have a goal and you work towards it, and you're grafted for that long, and the World Cup goes. Going into coaching, says Steve. Steph, you're saying his family settled in Manchester? I don't know. Chris is saying if he's not driven by money, then he should take a pay cut. I'll be interested to see what happens. You know what? I did the video on Maguire and Casemiro, and what I felt was probably the right thing for the club from a footballing perspective was to not renew either contract. Did I underestimate maybe the impact that these sorts of professionals could have on the players around them? I probably didn't get that into question enough. Do I think that would be worth 150 grand a week? No, I don't. 150 grand a week in this new setup under Ineos is a first-team starting player for Manchester United. That's Cunha and Mbeumo. Yoro's not on that. Who else did we sign? De Ligt's on around about that. That's that wage level. So for somebody of Casemiro's age, you probably want that more down towards 100 grand. I think that would be reflective of his status to the starting 11 next season if he was to stay. Do I think he's going to drop from 300 down to 100 just to stay at United? I'm not so sure about that. Steph is saying, do you think Casemiro will end up as a top manager when he finally hangs up his boots? Does Casemiro speak English? Because anytime I've ever seen him doing it, just out of curiosity, I don't actually know this. Because I've only ever seen him speaking Portuguese. Do I think I don't know why, but Casemiro's never really struck me as somebody who wants to go to be a manager. I don't know why, if I'm being honest. Someone down there saying, accepting a 50% wage cut, would you do that where you're working? I don't know. I probably wouldn't. I don't think any of you would. Quite a few of you are thinking that he would make a good coach and he could go into that. Maybe. Not every footballer does. Not every footballer wants to, really. Good morning. Hello. Anyway, just a little chat about Casemiro. Let's move on. Going from the complete opposite end, we're going from the oldest players at United to speaking about maybe the youngest players that we're looking at and bringing in. And Chris Vivell, of course, is at the heart of that. You know that's United's it's kind of United's rough transfer strategy right now. Two ends of the spectrum. Number one, focus on Premier League proven quality first and foremost. You might say that Joao Gomes isn't quality enough, but this is United looking at the Premier League and looking at potential options inside the Premier League. And at the same time, bring in the young and emerging talent. And that's where Chris Vivell's specialty is. We knew that. We've seen that with the players that he's brought in so far. We've got Diego Leon, Sekou Kone, Christian Orozco, who's coming in. And now we've got a conversation about another midfielder, 16-year-old lad, Kenneth Eichhorn from Hertha Berlin. 16-year-old who's making some waves. And United are scouting him. It's not to say that United are going to sign him, but United are keeping tabs on the best that Europe has, as well as looking towards the South American market, Orozco, looking towards the African market, Kone, and of course Diego Leon. It's good to see. It should be part of our strategy, because when United are back at the very top, and we do have that team of stars, not even just have that team of stars, over the next, I would say 2 seasons, I want to see United find one of these youngsters, bring them through, and then someone bursts onto the scene. That's what I want. Next 2 years. Killan, you're saying Casemiro's form is not down to the World Cup? Oh, I'm going to disagree with you there. Oh, it's not just down to the World Cup, but I think that is a massive driving force behind his current levels and what he's aiming towards, because he has a goal. He's got something. I'm not sure if you're the same, but I certainly work better when you're working towards a goal. Just kind of in anything in life, really. When you're a little bit aimless, it's kind of hard to measure success, because if you've not got a target to aim for, then you can't fail and you can't succeed. You're just kind of ambling towards something. Whereas if the aim is to win the World Cup with Brazil, I've got to put myself in the absolute best possible position for that. You have a little bit more clarity on your end game, and it allows you to drive a little bit further. I think so anyway. A couple of people mentioned Schlotterbeck. I think it's because Steve Howson was mentioning it earlier. I've seen nothing yet. Maybe I can have a conversation at some point. Enough with the teenagers. Get a 22-plus player already. Anderson, for instance. Dude, this isn't a conversation to say, let's bring in a 16-year-old this summer into our midfield. These are two things that happen at parallel. Man United signing Elliot Anderson, who's 22, would not stop us signing a 16-year-old, and vice versa. And also, by the way, we can't sign a 16-year-old because of Brexit rules. So all we can do is track him. Because of Brexit rules, we can't agree a contract with Kenneth or any other player until they're 18. Hence why Christian Orozco, we've agreed a deal with... Who's he play for? Can't remember. Someone in Colombia. We've agreed a deal with him, but he can't actually join us until June when he's 18. Kind of puts British... Is it British? Yeah. British teams at a disadvantage when it comes to signing the best youngsters in world football now. And I don't know whether there's any rules that also apply to other countries. I think we've spoken about that before. Anyway, one to keep an eye on, because United are doing exactly that, which I think we should. Speaking about the younger players, I covered this last week, and I said I'd bring you a little bit of an update. So the under-17s. Why am I speaking about the under-17s World Cup? Of course, there's a couple of United players who are playing in it. You can see down here that England qualified second in their group, and Colombia qualified second in their group. And the games are now lined up. Who finished down here? You can see down here. Brazil, they topped their group. Ireland, France. France topped their group without. Oh, look at that. You'd be fuming. Just goal difference. Anyway. Christian Orozco. I've told you I'm going to do a little bit of a compilation video maybe. How did he get on at the Under-17s World Cup? We'll do that at the end of it. But Colombia are playing France in the round of 32 on Friday, 1:30 kickoff. I don't know whether these games available to watch anywhere. I don't know. I haven't seen any so far. But I might be interested to watch that. What's that, Friday? Friday at 1:30. France playing Colombia. And England's game. On Saturday, 12:30 kickoff against Korea. So Mantato should... Is he starting for England right now? Anyway, Mantato's in that squad. Orozco's in the Colombia squad. Let's see how they get on. But both of them are into the round of 32. Watch out for Zambia, says Chul. Right, you've heard it here first, peeps. Watch out for Zambia. The Dutch squad love riding bikes, don't they? I know it's a really random point. I swear I always see that. Like the start of the Dutch, like whenever the Dutch national team gets together, they love going on a bike ride. I used to love riding my bike. Oh, no, I'm not allowed to mention that. My bad. So stick to the news sound. No one cares about the fact that you used to love riding a bike. Need to get a new one, though. Only bike that I've got was one I did for a couple of sprint triathlons. So it's dead uncomfortable to sit on. Might have to get a hybrid one. Although my leg's a bit... Because my foot and my leg are so bent now. It's not as easy to pedal. De Ligt, right? Of course, he's joined up with the Dutch national team, which you already know, and which we've covered. And Mazraoui's been waxing lyrical about him, right? He's just been speaking. Obviously, both of them, they play for Bayern Munich together. They know each other probably more so than most United players. It's what Mazraoui said. He's a really nice guy. I adore him. Very nice. I think he's getting into his prime at this point. As a player, he's very aggressive. Loves duels and winning them with the ball. He's also very good. He makes very good decisions, with or without the ball. And he's very expressive, which is very important for his position. That's just nice quotes. Stu, you're saying the England games are on ITV and the rest are on FIFA Plus? There you go. Do you remember when Graham Souness called De Ligt a lightweight defender? I remember at the time how ignorant a comment that was. Yeah, it's been proven spectacularly incorrect. If there's one thing you can say about De Ligt's game, it is his aggression. It's his... He's like the opposite of Van Dijk. You know, Van Dijk is a defender who likes to stay on the back. And you can be a great defender by doing this, by the way. He prefers to stay on the back foot to defend the space rather than defending the player. De Ligt's the opposite. De Ligt is somebody who would rather go in on the front foot, rather go in for the duel, rather go up for the header, rather compete for it. It's I already spoken about this. We've got a script planned, and it's researched on De Ligt, on the season he's had so far, kind of what's being said. And we might produce that this week. I'm a little bit hesitant, I'll be honest, to produce these bigger videos with budgets simply because everybody's a bit switched off right now. I understand that, it's the international break. But I still might do it. Richie's saying, loving the camaraderie in our team. United certainly do feel a bit more united than they did before. Yeah, Souness still being a whopper. I know. Bombshell. And Malente saying, Sam, did you see the Sky Sports reports about sleep out? What's that about? I believe United do that every single year, and I think they raised 30,000 for, is it a homeless charity? Effectively, they open up Old Trafford so that, and they do like a sponsored sleep out. So they allow, I think, if I'm correct, they allow anybody who's homeless to come and sleep in Old Trafford for the night. And then I think, was it started by Lou Macari? I don't know whether it was started by Lou Macari, but he's definitely been involved in it for a long, long time. It's a really good event. It's sort of United putting awareness on those who are sleeping rough and trying to raise money to help them. So I believe that's exactly why it happened. And I think it happens every single year. There's Lenny. Random question here about Lenny. What do you make of Amrim's decisions to take him out of like a few starting 11s now? I'm trying to think of the first one. Was it Chelsea at home? It might have been Chelsea at home. That was when De Ligt and Maguire played. Obviously, it worked because we won. Was it Anfield as well? I think it might have been Anfield. Can't remember. But Yora's been left out of a couple of games where I think Ruben Amorim wants to prioritise aggression and box defending more than controlling and moving up the pitch. Is that a fair way to describe it? Not really sure how to describe it. It's not as if Lenny Yoro is lightweight, by the way. But yeah, there's been certain games where De Ligt and Maguire have been preferred. Someone down there saying, I think it's the right approach, so he won't be overused. Understandable, he's young, says Finn. It's tactical. Don't want him to burn out at a young age. Manages game time. We don't want a Lamine Yamal situation. Yeah, it's mad to think he's still only 19, isn't he? Someone said saying you can't figure it out. I think it's a tactical decision. As I said, it's more to do, I think, with aggression and box defending. So maybe in games where Ruben Amorim expects Manchester United to be a little bit deeper, to maybe protect a lead, and I don't quite know. But yeah, maybe it's just him being protected. Either way, he's out with the French under-21s. And at some point in the next, what would we say? Not this World Cup, but the next Euros, Lenny's definitely going to be aiming to be in that France squad. Look at Ahmad. Ahmad must be like one of the... He must be like a little brother that you love, but you definitely want to slap him on the back of the head most days. Just seems like an absolute joker. Just seems like a good lad. Samantha, thank you very much. Super chat. You're saying celebrating being off work and making the live show. Hope everyone's in the community is doing well. Big up to you. Thank you very much, Samantha. If there's, by the way, if there's any females Steph, I can see you there. Samantha, I can see you there. Therese, I saw you there as well. We're working on trying to create a space on the Discord where it's a sort of, I suppose, a safer place for women to come and talk about United. And Maddie's looking for any other females that want to get involved. So if you do want to get involved, please do DM Maddie on Discord. So it's not the easiest thing to get organised. Ahmad, the team mascot. He's a funny little lad, man. I mean that in a complimentary way. Congratulations to James Overy, by the way, who has, well, not made his debut for the Australia team, but it's his first call-up to the senior Australia team, and he's out there training with them now. So congrats to him. And I want to sort of finish by having a little conversation about Cunha. I want to run through this little clip of him speaking. And yeah, just want to say something about it.
Honestly, I think being Manchester United right now is something that I'm so grateful. It's very impactful for me to perform like we did it, to show everyone like United is some club that need to be in the top. So we did everything to put United there. And without doubt, to come here, we need to show everyone is because we did a good job at the club. And I hope we continue like this. We continue to push forward United to help them, to help the fans, to help the club to be whatever we want them to be.
Basically, it's just Cunha saying how grateful he is to be at Manchester United, how much he wants to help United get back to the top. And it just made me think, like, that's the exact same position that he is in with Brazil. And maybe that's partly why joining United was so appealing to him. Because Brazil haven't won... Was it 2006? When was the last time they won the World Cup? I think it was 2006. I swear that was it. Germany? Was it 2002? Who won 2006? Damn. Can't actually remember now. It's one of the two. No, was it Germany in 2006? They win it in Germany? I know it was in Germany. Damn, I'm failing in the pub quiz. Anyway, the point is, Brazil haven't won a World Cup in a long bloody time. So from a national team perspective, so you're all saying 2002. Well, it was 2002 then. That was when Ronaldo had the world's worst haircut. It just dawned on me. That was at Italy in 2006. The headbutt. Thank you. It just dawned on me that Cunha's mentality with Brazil is the exact same mentality that it is with United. And maybe that sort of synergy between the two was the reason why he chose United so badly, because he wants to be in that position to be at a club like United, one of the biggest in the world. And Brazil, you could argue that Brazil is the biggest country in the world when it comes to international football. And they've not won the World Cup in 23 years now. 24 by the time the next World Cup starts. United haven't won the league since 2013. Yeah, maybe that same driving force for club and country. It's just something that I've just randomly, just kind of sort of dawned on me. What comp was it when Germany battered them 5-0 in the first half? That was the World Cup in Brazil, wasn't it? The 7-1 game. Sam, if we win 5 in a row, would you get the R9 haircut? Nah. No. I don't have to involve my hair in these sort of shenanigans like that. Now, do you know how hard... I was having conversations with people about this at the weekend. Do you know how hard it is to win 5 in a row? I can't be bothered to go back and look at the research, but I wonder how many times in the last 10 years that United have actually won 5 league games in a row. It's really bloody hard. I hope he never has to cut his hair again. Well, that's a lie. I'd rather United win 5 games in a row. It's really hard, though. Yeah, anyway, I just wanted to pull that up. Yeah, random. Right. Last minute of the show. If anybody wants to fire in any questions or things you don't think I've spoken about enough, now's the time. And yeah, I just want to take this second to apologise for being so unprofessional to speak about what's going on behind the scenes. I think, and I'll make sure I don't do it again. I do find it funny how I don't want to use the word entitled because that's the wrong way to describe it. It's how much energy certain people have in comments. And the cojones to actually type what they type. Sometimes. We're going down here. Rich, did you say my great father or your grandfather was Brazilian? One of the two. Yeah, I know. Sacked. Unbelievable, really. What's your favourite McDonald's special item? I hate McDonald's, man. I hate it so much. I really do. So sometimes. Sometimes. Randomly, actually, let me finish on this. I want to ask you all a question. I might do a poll for this. Because I had an idea. Give me 2 secs. Right? Let me pull this up. I want to ask if you'd be interested in something. My God, hurry up. Anyone else uses like WhatsApp on desktop now? For some reason, mine's got a mad delay on it. It takes like 15 seconds to load. Have you seen this? Now, this isn't going to appeal to everybody. I know that. That's why I wanted to ask you first. Right? This bad. Let's close that. Have you seen this? Right? This is a mod of PES 2021 for the 99 season, and it looks absolutely incredible. My question to you is this. Would you enjoy watching a series on this? So say, for example, I don't know how I do it. I don't know where I do it. But would you enjoy like a gaming series where I did like a 99 season on this? Because like I used to love FIFA. I used to play it so often, man. But FIFA these days is just like, it's naff. It's so samey and crap and arcadey, and it's just not an enjoyable experience. But doing something like this, I'd love to do that. So like, would you enjoy watching, I don't know whether it be like we can do like one episode a week, whether it exists on the YouTube channel, whether we do it somewhere else. I don't quite know. But I think it might be fun. Replaying the 99 season. I'd have to buy a PC for it because you can't do it on the Mac. I never played Football Manager. I'll be honest, I'm glad I didn't. Because I would have lost myself to that. I played enough PES. I didn't need PES and Football Manager. I bought LMA Manager on the PS1 and PS2. But I never played Football Manager. Because I can never get... I always enjoyed watching the game. I never liked the non-visuals. Anyway. Just put that down as a random. 70% of people saying yes. 30% are saying no. Right? I just thought it might be something fun, a new type of content that we could bring here on United People's TV. And I don't know whether it would live on the main channel, like Ant, you're saying down there, bring Nick into it, do a separate stream, retro gaming. I think it could be fun. I think quite a few people would enjoy it. Steve, thanks very much for sending that in, dude. I'm sorry if I took it the wrong way. Saying what I said was taken the wrong way. I love the channel. Was offering some constructive criticism as a long-standing member. No, sorry if I took it the wrong way as well myself. I thought you were basically just having a little bit of a dig, saying there's no movement. You keep saying there's going to be movement. It's just because I'm so consciously aware of it. I can't tell you how super aware of it I am. I'm really, really conscious of it. This community is, I genuinely think, what separates United People's TV from others. And I'm not just talking about United channels. I promise you I'm not. I'm just talking online. There's channels that will say they have communities but don't ever actually really care and look out for their communities. And as much as I love what we've built to this point, I know that there can be so much more that we build on top of what we've already got. The foundations of this community are incredible. But I think what we can do in the rest of this season, incredible. And I promise you it's starting now. Maddie's working on it and Alex is working on it. We've got a couple of new heads of community and I'm excited. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing this. And 70% of you are saying that you enjoy it. All out of 150 votes. It's enough for me. We'll see, right? Big up to all of you. Thank you all for tuning in. It's international break. It's quiet, but we're all here every single day. So thank you very much. Lunchtime video is going to be on Joao Gomes. A little bit more detail on that. And yeah, as always, I'll be here tomorrow morning. Take it easy.